Adventure 16 was a retail chain of recreational outdoor supplies that opened in 1962 and closed in 2020. Thank you for your suggestion. Adventure 16 was started by a group of young explorer scouts and their leaders who, in the late 1950s and early 1960s, were involved in backpacking and exploring the outdoors. The older scouts set out to make films documenting their various high adventures to share with other outdoor groups. The goal was to raise enough money to purchase a 16mm camera. They called their filmmaking enterprise Adventure 16. Ralph Andy Drollinger worked as a ground support equipment designer in the aerospace industry. He was also an advisor to an Air Explorer squadron of the Boy Scouts. In the process, their passion of making 16mm movie films turned to making backpacks. Drollinger was introduced to the Kelty pack on a backpack trip into the Sierras with his squadron. The ergonomic of the Kelty design took some time to soak in. Experience with the GI ski pack led to an idea of interfacing the pack load to the packer's body via an extended and padded back band and a front strap. With his aerospace engineering background, Drollinger used state-of-the-art aircraft-grade aluminum alloy tubing and other high-tech materials of the time. They invented and manufactured lightweight, high-quality backpacking equipment that helped revolutionize and vitalize the sport. The new design they came up with was a shoulder-saving revolutionary idea of designing a pack with a hip belt that distributes the weight more evenly. In the 1950s, Andy Drollinger began making them in his garage in La Mesa, which was located just east of San Diego, and it became a workshop for the group. The filming stopped, but the name stuck, and their primary focus became the development and manufacture of the revolutionary pack design that allowed much of the pack's weight to be distributed comfortably around one's hips. Drollinger started the company in 1962. The new pack design was followed with the first dome tent using bent fiberglass poles to support a rainfly. He would also create the first water bag using a plastic bladder liner. The troops started making their own gear and selling it out of a garage. Among the eager gear-making young scouts was one named Wayne Gregory, who would later make a name for himself in the outdoor business. Mick Mead, who earned a degree in forestry from Purdue University, headed west to California in 1955 to fill a 2-year obligation as a naval officer. He would later migrate into the business of making and selling outdoor gear. In 1970, Andy Drollinger sold the company to Mick Mead, who financed and incorporated A16. It was a manufacturing operation making tents, 800 filled-down sleeping bags, packs, and some accessories like the first net front and see-through ditty bags. Mick Mead's nephew, John Mead, who would later become the president, joined the company as well. A16 grew steadily, adding more stores. Mead said its retailing success was due to 6 factors: the regular publishing of the Footprints instructional and newsletter that went to a mailing list of 100,000 customers, a great class and outing program, free slideshows at the stores that would draw up to 500 people, and always selling top-flight gear. Stores that were deliberately funky and filled with all sorts of country antiques and training, and more training. Their mantra was, don't oversell, make the friend, and the sales will follow, and they did. The West Los Angeles store opened in 1974. A wholesale distribution division was started in 1980 and quickly gained the reputation for being the most responsive, innovative, and loved outdoor accessory distributor in the industry. A16 became an employee-owned company in 1987. As manufacturing shifted to Asia in the early 1990s, A16 phased out its factory and started selling goods made by others. A16 had grown to employ 200 employees at its height in the mid-2000s, stretching to 7 stores. The stores specialized in climbing, hiking, and other outdoor recreational products. The chain was known for their quality of service with a knowledgeable staff. fellow outdoors people who had experience with equipment they were selling, who happily took the time to make sure the customer had the correct fit and made sure they knew how to use the item before leaving their shop, and as a bonus, were familiar with the local area. The store chain would later open an online store, a wholesale distribution business, a guide service, and its own nonprofit Donate a Pack Foundation. The company prided itself as being a local employee-owned company who helped the community and donated endlessly to the communities around Southern California. They formed the Donate a Pack Foundation to help at-risk, low-income, or disabled youths in Southern California partake in outdoor wilderness experiences. They organized the A16 Three-Peak Challenge, hiking up each of the 3 tallest mountains in SoCal, San Antonio, Mount Baldy, San Gorgonio, and San Jacinto. The company worked with the Banff Mountain Film Festival to bring the popular Banff Mountain Film Festival World Tour to San Diego and Los Angeles, year after year. The company also offered free workshops and presentations to hear and learn about everything related to the outdoors. The chain began to close stores as the 2000s rolled along. Big box and online shopping, including direct selling from manufacturers, was on the steady rise and continued to outpace traditional specialty stores like A16. The store experienced a decline in gear sales and a major slowdown in foot traffic in their last years. That, plus the changing retail landscape and the cost of doing business in Southern California, were too much for the independent retailer to go on. By 2016, they were down to 4 locations. The Tarzana location closed in 2018. By 2016, they were down to 4 locations. The Tarzana location closed in 2018, and on November 23, 2019, Adventure 16 announced they were closing and posting a going out of business sale on November 29th, starting a 1-month liquidation of its extensive inventory of mid to high-end outdoor equipment and clothing. On December 7th, they began liquidating its rental gear and its store fixtures, including a large collection of vintage and antique props. At that point, the chain was down to 2 locations, San Diego's Granville location and a spot in West Los Angeles. Both stores would be closed at the end of 2019 after 57 years in business. So what do you remember about this place? Leave a comment or a suggestion for a future video below. And if you haven't already, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, bringing back memories from the good old days. That's super cool, man.